Hello and welcome to Unbroken Woman Conversations, the podcast where we dive deep with other women of faith, entrepreneurs, kingdom builders, and we open up to seeing what the Holy Spirit has to guide and to share and to bring to the world through our amazing expert guests. One that we have today is an amazing woman, and I am so thrilled that we were able to connect, that she said yes, that she's out there quietly and not so quietly supporting other women and other people to be able to step into their whole and complete selves and lead with integrity and ease. And so, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Tanya Dotson-Winckler, my amazing guest today. And a little bit about Tanya. Tanya helps Black women executives and entrepreneurs in particular who look like they have it all together, but secretly feel stuck, unseen, and exhausted. He supports them in breaking through the invisible ceiling that stands between them and the life they've worked so hard to build so that they can overcome generational trauma responses to systemic barriers and create breakthrough results that are sustainable. Welcome to the show, Tanya.
Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here. And thank you for, inviting me. It's an honor to be a guest on your podcast.
Amazing. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Tell us
Okay.
a little bit about, just talk to us. Talk to us about how you became, you're becoming, you're here. How did you get into this work and who are you?
Okay. Well, oh, that's not a whole bunch, but let's dive in. So I guess the journey would start with breakthrough coaching, right? I have been doing breakthrough coaching for 30 years. I love it. I had any program, I became an entrepreneur myself back in 1999. And the background story was that, I'm a highly educated Black academic, Princeton University graduate, New York University fellow. I did all the things. Yeah, right. I did all the things. I took all the steps, I got all the degrees, and then I left the country, right? And I decided, okay, I'm going to even be an expat, right? So I moved over. I know. So why not? Why not? I was 29 years old, had gotten all my degrees, and oh yeah, forgot I did a stint in medical school because everything that I had studied had been pre-med, all through high school and all through college. I was convinced that I was going to become a doctor. And then I was in medical school for 2 years, and then I became convinced, no, I'm not, because of how I felt at that time. We're talking in the 80s, right? We're
Yes.
talking 1982, 83, 84. There was one track, it was you were either going to be a community medical doctor or you were going to specialize. And in the school that I went to, everyone was all hopped up on what my specialty was going to be. And I had gone from being a bio major to a psych major in college. And if I had had a moment, to just step back, I probably would have gone into clinical psych. But, everything was all set up. And I know that there are a lot of women that can identify with this. You grow up in a Black family, and the setup is that you're going to be a doctor. So everybody just kind of piles on to support you. But then if you start making noises like, well, I don't think I'm going to do this anyway. No, no, yes, you are. Right. So, I felt,
We are doing this.
yeah, exactly. We are doing this. I felt that's exactly how I felt. I didn't even blink from graduation day to
Yeah.
medical school. And then, got there and was like, oh no, this is not what I'm about. I'm about healing. I'm about breakthroughs. And I had gone from the physical manifestations of all of this, thinking I was going to be a surgeon, just like everybody else, to no, I want to focus on mental wellness. I want to focus on, community healing. I want to focus on coaching us through what we're dealing with physically to get to the root cause of it, because I
I'm
switched.
just
Mhm,
I'm just curious, Tanya.
mhm.
What were some of the things that you were maybe observing or noticing, whether it's in yourself or in your environment, in the people, in the conversations you were having with people that got you even to that level of introspection and noticing? Like,
Yeah,
what
it
was
was.
it that was out of alignment with what you thought you were going to be? Because I mean, either way, I would imagine that you were there to serve, to help, to
Yes,
improve a situation. Yet, with all the book learning, you get to a point and you think, wait a second, what was that
yes.
thing? What was that?
That thing was everybody's, whether we were up until 3 o'clock in the morning in the anatomy lab, or whether we were having breakfast together before we had our classes, everybody was talking about their specialty, what they were
Ah,
going to specialize in. I was like, we
mhm.
just got here. We haven't learned anything yet. And already you're talking about, your position, right? It was
Yes,
positioning. Yeah. And that's what turned me off. I was like, I'm not here to position myself. I'm here, like you said, to serve.
yes,
I'm here to help heal our community, which
yes.
is, of course, what led to this final, developmental program that I have, which we'll get back to. But it just, there was no alignment. It felt inauthentic to me,
Okay.
right? So that's when I opted out, and thank goodness there was a very good Black therapist there who said to me for the first time in my life, she's like, you don't have to do this. I was like, I actually had to ask her to repeat what she just said, because
Wow.
all I heard was the generations, uh,
Yes. The
becoming
duty.
the duty, you're going to be the first doctor in the family, that's all I heard, right? So I actually had to sit there and ask her, could you repeat that, please? And then when she did, I was like, bet, went to the phone, called my parents and said, this is not me. I'm not doing this, right? So
And I'm booking a flight out of the country. No,
it was
I'm getting the
almost
heck out of Dodge.
got to get
Yeah.
the heck out of. Well, I squeezed in the master's program at NYU, the fellowship in between, because I'm good at education. I'm good at courses. I'm good at taking
Yes.
information and getting degrees. So I figured, well, okay, I'm not going to get this degree, but the one that they were announcing, the one that I applied for, it was a very good fit with the degree in psychology from Princeton. And then this was a New York University public administration with a focus in community development. And I was like, wow.
Beautiful.
And it just, it was one of those things. I'm not even thinking about graduate school because I basically just got out of the last education, medical school. I'm sitting at my desk, and I think I got that job in March, and this thing slid across my desk in July, and I was in the program in September, right?
Wow.
Did the program really, really great. Got my very first job outside of, after my degree, after I got my master's. And that was the one that took me to Europe. That's the one that took me to Denmark. So went on that's a whole long story. I'm not going to go into all of that, but became a medical counselor, did the very first HIV/AIDS research program for minority women with HIV. Wrote the abstract, wrote the paper, all of that,
Wow.
and was able to go and present that at the Third International AIDS Conference, which just happened to be in Stockholm, Sweden.
Oh,
And the
hop,
doctor
skip, and
that
a
I was,
jump. Yeah.
yeah, the doctor I was working with happened to be Danish. So she was like, look, while you're over there, and it wasn't like they invited me. They didn't invite me. I did all this work, and all the muckety mucks were sitting around the table going, when we go to the conference, I was like, wait, I wrote the abstract. The only reason we're going to the conference is because my abstract got accepted. So,
So my abstract is going.
my abstract is going with me, and they were like, who is this, and so, but the doctor I was working directly under, she was Danish, and she said, you got to go to Denmark. So, went to Denmark, had a great time at Stockholm, did the presentation, all of that, had an opportunity, went back to Denmark, stayed, and
Wow.
worked for 30 years. Now, this is where, I did a couple of jobs in the AIDS field. I worked with HIV and AIDS for 10 years. and in the bad times, right?
Yeah,
The
80s, 90s,
trenches,
yeah.
in
Hmm.
the trenches. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
So after I had done that for, I guess that was 5 more years in Denmark, then I decided, okay, I need to do something fun. So I worked at an after-school program, and I started taking developmental courses, transformational developmental courses in my free time, just to kind of like, oh yeah, what's next?
Yes.
Um, the PhD program in Denmark was free, and every year I would get the application, and every year it was like, no, I'm not, this is not it. It's not another education. It's something else, right? Right. So I was doing this developmental transformational program, and one of the people heard me talking about what was missing for these young people that I was working with in the after school program. And someone in another group was saying pretty much the same thing. So they got us together, and we had one conversation, created a program for breakthrough coaching of families, the very first one of its kind in Denmark. And we launched that program, and we spent the next 20 years together, right,
Wow.
doing that. Now, in the middle of that, we had the 2008, what was that? There was something that happened. I can't remember now, but in 2008, there was a lot of shutdowns of business. And so I started doing executive coaching on the side. I was still doing this program, but I was doing, it was well established by that point. So I could do executive coaching on the side, and it was all breakthrough. It was like, oh, breakthrough, breakthrough. Wow. No matter what I'm doing, I'm
There's a
not
breakthrough.
interested. It's about breakthroughs. I'm not interested in improvement. I'm not even really interested in transformation, because transformation is from the one to the
To the
other.
next, yeah.
Exactly. So I'm interested in the whole pop, the breakthrough,
A whole
the,
shift,
the
like a
whole
whole.
shift, a whole, like, going from temperature to color, right? It's like that whole paradigm shift.
So that's almost like a transmutation.
That's a very good word. That's exact, and that's what my clients say
Yeah.
that they experience. It's like one day they're over here, and then they think that they're going to get, an improvement, or something's going to be a little bit easier, and they're like, it was Tanya. It was like I was over here, and now I'm over here, right?
Yeah.
And the difference is, I almost don't even recognize who was over there when I come
Exactly.
over here, because I'm operating in a completely different space, because I have broken through something that I did not even know was there. So that's what excites me, is to reveal.
It's a whole new identity.
Yeah, and it's a whole new manifestation, because it's identity, because it's thoughts, it's speech, and then it's actions, right? So you're dealing with your thoughts first. You're revealing what have I been thinking all this time,
Hmm.
and then what have I been saying about what I've been thinking all this time, and how have I
Yeah.
been acting on what I've been saying and thinking all this time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
3-step program. It's a reveal, reframe, and reset. And
Yeah.
once you do that, so that's what happened. I was doing this for executives. I was doing this for families, and then I took a turn, and because the executives asked me, well, Tanya, you've helped me to break through so much in my job, in my position. Do you do anything with time management? And they kept asking me that. So then I
Wow.
developed a breakthrough time management program called 180-degree time management. And I did that for 12 years. And then I left Denmark. And then things got different, you know, or real, because, I had a network over there that I had left over here. And through a series of different events, I wound up back in the United States. And it was like, okay,
Now
yeah,
what?
exactly. I'm going to have a breakthrough in order to
It's like
take.
medicine, Tanya. Yeah.
Because here's the thing. The thing that I was thinking and could have been thinking is, oh my God, I'm starting over, and I'm 65, right? I'm 65 now. So that would have been, I'm 60, I'm 61, I'm 62, right? The last
Yes.
5 years.
Yes.
But then what I got what my breakthrough was is, how do you start over when you've got 30 years of experience?
Is it really?
That's different. That, that set me up for what I'm doing now, which is to facilitate breakthrough results for Black women executives and entrepreneurs. Because, the whole time I was living in Denmark, my mother, who was a master school teacher, every time I come home, when you go come home and serve your community, when you go come home and serve your community, when you go,
Duty calls.
I'm like, Mom, I'm serving the brown community in Denmark because I was working with a lot of
Yes.
minority families and everything. She's like,
Like not the same thing.
that ain't your people. Okay. She's like, when you gonna come back and serve us? I was like, so it was like my mother passed away in 2020, but it's like, that messaging that
Oh,
you get.
it doesn't go away.
Never. So I'm sitting down figuring out, okay, what next? I'm not
Yeah.
lit up and turned on by time management anymore. When I was kind of cruising over in Denmark, that was fine because
Yes.
I could do other things, right?
Yes.
But I had to sit down and go, why am I back here? What am I here for? And then, okay, all right, all right.
Okay.
That's kind of because the thing that I discovered when I talk about this new programming and this new
Yes.
technology that I discovered it because my clients, who happen to be Black women, all had the same commonality, and that was generational trauma responses. And I was like, there we go. That's
It's
so,
massive.
yeah, yeah. And then so I started, really focusing on what are the generational trauma responses that we are dealing with and have been dealing with, for 400, 500
Well,
years.
let's dig into that
Okay.
because um like there's so many Black women out here in these streets who
Yeah.
might not even recognize the trauma, how trauma shows up as personality in their
Yes.
lives. And
Absolutely.
they might not even be aware that the relationships they have, either with themselves, with other people, especially familial relationships, are not even with the people. It's literally trauma and trauma interacting, and it's causing a lot of uh, strife, unease, dis-ease, just a lot of craziness.
Mhm.
So, walk us through what that looks like in your work. How do you even, like, if someone doesn't even recognize that they have trauma, how does trauma
Mhm.
show up? How do you know the difference between trauma and just life? Like,
Trauma in life. Okay.
you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, how do I know I have trauma? Like, what is, what is trauma versus just,
Sure.
things not going my way?
May I share my screen?
Absolutely, please do.
Okay, because this can kind of say it better than I can, even though I wrote this. So okay, so you heard me talk about myself, all my
Yes.
education, blah, 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 and yet these are the things that we're dealing with. That if your leaders, your listeners, see, and who's watching this podcast can recognize themselves. This is how I have put it in a nutshell. Is this you? You've achieved what most only dream about. Princeton University, NYU, being an expat, living in Europe, being successful. But behind the polished success, all of this, you are fighting imposter syndrome, even after all your wins. I'm over there in Denmark bawling, okay? I'm bawling. And still, and still, my
Yeah,
focus is on, am I
enough.
no, am I Danish enough? So my focus is on my language.
Yes.
Can I speak it as fluently? Can I write it as fluently? It wasn't about, it was part of what my messaging was or my work was, but that imposter syndrome of them saying things to me, them trying to speak English with me, and me responding in Danish, and them going, "Oh, you speak Danish?" So I'm not easily recognizable because I look
Yes,
different, because
of
I'm
course.
American. I'm still dealing with imposter syndrome over there,
Yes.
right? Hypervigilance. Are you living in hypervigilance? Are you always preparing for the worst, right? Are
Mm.
you are you not able to allow people to pour into you, to contribute to you,
To
because
receive.
to receive, because who's that? I don't know who you
What do
are.
they want from
What
me?
do you
Is
want
this
from
gonna,
me?
yeah,
Yeah, how are we supposed to ever partner with each other,
if we're
and
always
get
protecting.
absolutely, because
Yeah.
we got our head on a swivel looking for the next attack, because
Yeah.
historically that was the case, right? Historically
Yes.
we trained to, in slavery,
Survive.
survive, to
Survive.
turn each other in, to gain favor.
Yes.
We were trained to do things that, that are still in our kind of like our DNA, and so we're hypervigilant
To
about that.
pander. To pander.
And yes, thank you. Are you stuck in perfectionism that leaves you drained? Are you redoing and re-editing and it's never good enough? And for that
Not the
reason,
right time.
not the right time. For that reason, because of the perfectionism, you're not getting half of what you want to get done. Or when you finally get it done, what would have only taken you maybe an hour and a half to do has taken you 2 days, and you're exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah, drained. There's code switching just to fit in.
Mm. Okay,
Being,
so please explain code switching
I
for our
will.
audience.
Code switching is when you, as a Black person, have a colloquial way of speaking that you change up when you are amongst the majority population. Like, you speak different at home than you do on your job. You speak different on your job than you do at your church. You speak different at your church than you do at your children's school, right? You're not here, right? You're like
Yeah.
looking at situations and going, which button do I need to press? And which voice do I need to switch into to be acceptable? The fact,
Yes.
the way that I speak, right? You can tell I'm highly excitable. But I was told to shh.
You're
And
effervescent, Tanya. You're effervescent.
thank you. But Danes thought I was loud. I've been shushed at events and on the bus talking to
Shushed.
shushed. Yes, ma'am. Shushed. I'm like,
Clutch your
'cause
pearls. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, what? Because we're too loud. And it's the same thing in corporate America. We get told that we're too loud. If we express anything that looks like passion, then we're angry. If we
Professional.
professional, if we, so that's code switching, right? So
Thank
that's
you.
exhausting, because then it's like you can't just show up as your authentic self.
Your
You
guard is always up. Your
always,
armor all the time.
and you're always putting on different masks.
Yeah.
So who are you at the end of the day? You don't know. No, you don't even know anymore. I don't know. I don't know. Depends on the
I'm
situation.
here.
Somewhere, I'm in here somewhere, but it depends on the situation. And
Yeah.
then here's the one that I really like. I call it controlled by an inner taskmaster who never lets you rest. Now, everybody knows the inner dialogue. We all know about that. I have actually renamed this to the inner overseer, because
Yes.
in America,
The
who
whip.
the whip, exactly. The overseer cracked the whip for the master. And if it got real bad and you weren't performing, then the master would come and whip you, right? So you either got the master's taskmaster, which is the overseer, or the master himself. So in here, you all day, every day.
Internalized it. Like literally
Internalize.
took that role and internalized it.
Yes. So that's who I serve. So at the you see you're running on fumes, there's more, but this ain't it. Yeah. This is not it. I did not do all of, and my clients, they get to that point. I did not do all of this education. I did not do all of this study. I did not rise to the top of my field to deal with this.
Yes.
To still be left with when am I going
Yes.
to pull out? When am I going to be able to express my authentic self? When am I going to thrive instead of
Yes.
survive?
Yes.
I'm 60 years old. I'm 50 years old. I'm 45 years old, and I'm still surviving my
Yeah.
life. that to me was unacceptable. Was
Yes,
unacceptable. I thought
I
if I
agree.
can do anything about this, if I can take everything that I've ever done and compile it, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So that's my,
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking that on because it is such an important piece, yet, I mean, it's foundational, really.
yeah,
And with that hypervigilance, with all the things you went through so beautifully on the list, when do you even get a chance to sit and even consider any of it, much less do anything to invite a breakthrough?
that's the whole point. All of the people that I've worked with, the main thing people say about working with me is I never thought of it. I
Yeah,
never thought of that before. I never saw that before. I knew I was exhausted. I've gone
I
to therapy. I've gone to, courses. I've tried everything. And
yes,
yet I haven't been able to get to the root cause of of my inability to not be impacted by these things. And I'm like, yeah, because you haven't gotten to the generational trauma that is up
yes,
underneath all of it. That's the root cause, right?
yeah,
And once we start, identifying
yeah,
the generational trauma, then it becomes kind of simple. Then it's, okay. I see now. I see that I'm whipping myself the way we
yes,
used to get whipped. I see that my
yes.
perfectionism is not excellence. Because look,
No,
I'm all about producing excellence and producing excellent
yes,
work, but perfectionism is not excellence.
no,
Perfectionism is a generational trauma response to it never being good enough. You are not good enough. Your work
yeah,
is not good enough, right? So that's where I start, is to find out where did where are your generational trauma responses, and we do it by doing something called reclaiming your say in the matter of your life exercise, where
mm,
I take you back through the 6 pivotal events of your life where you made these decisions. I am not good enough. I
where
am
you agreed with these inherited beliefs.
correct. Correct. Exactly. And, and again, it's, it's, it comes down because it's passed down. Like I said, it's generational. It is
Yes,
hereditary. It is passed down through our families. And it's like, it's not because they wanted to do us dirty or anything. It's because they wanted to protect us. But what protected your grandmother and your great grandmother is now limiting you,
yes,
because now you are so extra perfectionism, extra cautious, that it takes you 3 days to produce something that you know you could produce in an hour, but you don't trust it, right?
yeah.
You just don't trust
You
it.
don't trust you, maybe.
No, you don't trust you,
Yeah,
which is again
yeah,
crazy, or it's counterintuitive, and it's definitely counterproductive that you study, you get into the job market, you go up through the ranks, and then your experience. Now, here's the flip side, right? The imposter syndrome. I don't think, yeah, the imposter syndrome that you experience, I call that Black imposter syndrome, because look, you're not paranoid if you are being watched. There's stuff going on, microaggressions in the workforce. There is,
you're not imagining it.
you're not
It does
imagining it.
exist.
It
Yeah,
absolutely does exist. And that's the thing that I really want to bang home with, generational trauma responses. It is because you are up against something that is absolutely real and it's absolutely tangible. The thing is, you can't do anything with the system. We keep bucking up against the system,
yeah,
thinking that we can vote our way out of this system, or we can't. And if it's going to take a long time, and you've got this lifetime that you're living, and you're dealing with imposter syndrome. So I wrote an article about that on LinkedIn that just kind of went viral, where I talked about, well, I call it Black imposter syndrome, because you are facing inequality, you are facing systemic barriers, you are facing discrimination, you are facing all these things. I am not denying that at all. Actually, I want you to focus on that, because once you focus on that and agree that you can't do anything with the system, then you turn your focus back here. Because this
That's
is
where
the
the
only thing,
power is.
that's where the power is. That's where the answer is. That's where the
That's
joy
where the
is.
breakthrough is.
That's where the
Yeah.
breakthrough is. Exactly. That's where the juice is. That's where all the juice is.
Yes.
So that's what has allowed me to come back here and, kind of like not miss a beat, because I knew it's breakthrough or die for me. That's it.
Beautiful. So you end up like you create all these opportunities, you listen, and this is what I'm noticing in what you're sharing, how everywhere you go, you are there's certain characteristics and certain ways of being
Mhm.
that are you,
Yeah.
like your whole authentic self. And so you show up and you're listening to what people are saying, you're getting the patterns, and you hear something enough where you're like, I get to create a solution for that. I get to respond to that. How do we get to the root of that to be able to solve this and resolve this? And you're doing that at every step.
Yeah.
And you're not afraid of change. You're not afraid of the iterations that come with progress and excellence. And so you're open and willing to whatever that next chapter is, not only in your life but also in your work.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
it's and I see your clients and the communities you serve growing with you, because
Yeah.
you're not stagnant. You're you're taking those steps and they can also grow with you, similar to what that client had asked. Okay, incredible breakthrough in my role at in my career. What else do you have in this area of time management? And I
Right.
can see the implications and applications for time management. Y- and with everything you went through in those points, the idea of time just kind of kept popping in for me,
Hmm.
because a lot of the messaging and beliefs throughout all those points is really you don't have enough time. You don't have enough time to be able to what's that word? Like indulge yourself in
Right.
how I feel about
Right.
this. I just get to push through, not breakthrough.
Exactly.
Like
There's no
I
time.
just
Yeah.
I don't have time to feel the
Reflect.
feels. Yeah, exactly. I don't have time to, all of these things. And the result of I don't have, I mean, that in itself is a limiting belief. But
Hmm.
then when you don't create a safe space for you to be able to experience all of this in time,
Right.
then you find yourself at 40, 50, 60, 70 out of time.
Out of time. And
And
that's the thing that I've been seeing a lot of, that also that's what's adding to my urgency, is that
yes,
I'm seeing a lot, especially on LinkedIn where we met, a lot of these posts about young Black women, Black
dying.
executives. She didn't wait. She went to bed on Saturday and never woke up. She's 40. I'm like, oh no, come on now. That is just that's not even being on the grind. That's being ground down,
Yes,
where there's no room for reflection, where there's only the next promotion, the next office, and then, with what's going on in
performance, just
performance. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I thought, no, that's outrageous. We are the most educated, we're the most highly educated demographic in the United States, and we're also the least supported.
this reminds me when you touch on mortality, this
Mhm.
reminds me of the stats for that. When you compare what is happening to both Black men and women
Yes.
now, and the lifespan that was given to chattel, like when we were considered chattel.
Yes.
to Black men, women, and children at that time. The life expectancy was exceedingly short.
Yeah.
And so now here we are, free, yet we're now doing the work for like both roles for free.
Exactly, for free, because it's been embedded in
Yes,
our psyches, right?
yes,
That's what we're not understanding. We're thinking that, excellence is getting the next degree
yeah,
and being perfect in your performance. And it's no, that's the taskmaster, that's the inner overseer that they have now firmly embedded in our psyches.
yeah,
And because we have no time, because we're always grinding and we have no time to reflect, that just gets exacerbated. Every performance review, every
yeah,
email after 9 p.m. at night, every criticism, whether large or small, every microaggression just feeds that mechanism. And
yes,
for me, it's like, how am I going to help my people first of all, identify, you gotta have a minute to identify, and then dismantle, and then
yes,
reframe, and then
yes.
set, right? So
Beautiful.
I just did a post on, I have a newsletter called Beyond Survival on LinkedIn. And I just did a whole article about this fallacy of the 21-day reset. It's like, no, come on now. If you could go on Pinterest and, do some affirmations and we'd all be free. We'd all be thriving. Okay. It's like, no, it takes 21 days to identify the mechanism, then another 21 days to reframe it, and then another 21 days. It takes about 66 days to reset this type of behavior.
And embody
Yeah,
this way of being that
yes,
is that is sustainable and conducive for thriving.
exactly. And
So,
that's what,
wow.
yeah, I've got
This
structure
is
for that
oh,
and systems for that.
beautiful. So, where can people find you? Because honestly, this is truly a unique approach. This is not something that you just, you know, can just check the boxes and this is not a paint by numbers type of thing. This is
No,
something that is a lot of living has gone into this system emerging.
thank you.
And a lot of uh, this can be, you have the attestations, you have the testimonies of
I
how
got the
this has
receipts.
impacted, you've got the receipts,
Got the
how this has
receipts.
impacted lives, how and you are the poster child for, the work that you do and the value that it has to offer in the world. So I'm really grateful that you had the courage
Thank
to
you.
be able to say yes, because first of all, as someone who identifies all of these, you know, systems and the traumas that are generational, intergenerational, you could have easily buckled under the pressure of
Mm,
doing what you've been told.
yes,
You went against the inner taskmaster
yes,
and decided to find a way off the plantation, right?
yes. Thank you.
And just make your path. You're like, whatever comes, I'm crossing over. And
I love
your
that.
mama, she kept reminding you and kept, calling you and like, hey, you gotta serve, you gotta serve. And it wasn't a service, like a call to service that was necessarily like a yoke. It
Right.
was more of an invitation and a reminder
Mhm.
and affirming who you are and where your unique talents, abilities, and offer can be of the highest value.
Mhm.
And
Right.
so you remembered that, yet you still forged your own path. And
Correct.
it's alignment because here's your full circle where you
Yes.
literally got to ask yourself, what am I doing back here again? Like,
Yeah.
what
Huh?
is this? Oh, yeah. So
Exactly.
when something is for you and of you, there's no grinding
Mhm.
involved. Like you're not required to not be yourself
Correct.
because it's still all in the same package. It just might come up at different
Mm.
times based on what is in the environment, based on what is required.
Mhm.
And I applaud you as
Thank
an
you.
academic and all the book learning and all the things you could very easily just like go all up in your head
Mm.
and never think to drop into your heart
Mm.
is
Yeah.
where I see and experience the work that you do in the world. Because you
Mm.
could be out there doing all the papers and being on all the stages and doing your thing and being holed up in an office somewhere with your office hours, and you're not doing that.
I don't think you can do this work that way, honestly. Like, there at some point I am going to write something. At some point I will hit stages. I'm doing
That's all part of it.
exactly, but
That's
that's
all
not,
part of it.
yeah, yeah.
You're
But
not hiding.
no,
You're
no,
not
I'm
hiding.
not hiding. I'm
Yeah.
out in these streets, in these executive entrepreneurial streets, getting contact. So, you asked how you can contact me. I've put my
Beautiful.
website in the chat. Now, there's a couple of different things about the website. Once you go on the website, you can actually book me for a 15-minute call, and that's free. And that's the success ceiling analysis, where I actually sit with you and I hear your story for 5 minutes, and then I apply my secret weapon. My secret weapon is that I can hear what you're not saying. Uh,
Yes.
and that's 30 years of training, right? 30 years of listening and coaching and giving feedback and then finding out what I thought was right and why and how. So I do that to give you like a teaser of what it would be like to work with me. And you walk away with the root cause of whatever it is you are dealing with in your career. Um, is it microaggression? Is it imposter syndrome? Is it hypervigilance? Is it code switching? Is it the inner, taskmaster? So you walk away with the recording and with my analysis of where I see that you are hitting your head up against
Powerful.
the success ceiling, right? Now, in addition to that, right now, I am running what I call the fall reset. So that's an hour opportunity to be with me. And hang on, that was what I was reading from. So there we go. So again, this is Breakthrough Now, executive coaching. That's me. Black women executives and entrepreneurs break through now. And I wanted to use someone, I don't know if you know Madam C.J. Walker, but she was the
Yes.
very first millionaire, but very first Black female millionaire in the United States. So I call it bold moves, unapologetic breakthroughs, right? So this is
Hair
a
care products. Yeah.
right. This is the special that I'm running because normally my coaching sessions are, they're at like $500 for after 30 years because you're not paying me for what I do. You're paying me for all that
What
training and
you know,
education.
who you're being.
Okay. So this is a special offer that I've knocked all the way down to $199, and you get a full hour with me. And
That's
what
a
we
deal.
do, yeah, and what we do in that hour is we not only reveal the thing that's in your way, you actually get a strategy for transforming it. And we work on a specific measurable outcome that you want to get from this hour with me. So, and it's really easy. You just click on it. I'll send this to you. It's a live link. You just click on it. That takes you to my Calendly page. There you can read. Okay, let's do that. You can read about, what you'll gain in 60 minutes. We'll uncover the invisible barrier that's been blocking your next level. You'll leave with a strategic roadmap that gives you clarity, confidence, and breathing room, and you will reframe perfectionism and imposter syndrome or whatever else you're dealing with into something powerful, right? And again, this is the same thing on the thing. Is this you? You're running on fumes, there's more, and this ain't it, right? So that's what's on availability now. hang on, I stopped sharing. Okay. So that's an hour, and I can send that to you. And in the,
So
if,
all of this information I'm going to put with is I'm going to post this
right.
conversation on YouTube, and I'm going to put that
Okay, great.
in the,
So
yeah,
you've got the 15-minute freebie, which is where you can really see how is to work with me, and you walk away with a takeaway, right? You walk away
beautiful.
with a specific measurable result, or you've heard enough here that you want to dive in, and you're like, all right, $199 for an hour. I'm going for that. So
Yes,
you just click on the live links on that flyer that I will send you. You go right into my booking calendar, you pay right there, and then I get on just like this, and we do an hour. Now, once you've done the 15 minutes, what I want to make really, really clear, that freebie is free. I don't sell anything on that call. You get to interact with me, and then if you find after doing the 15 minutes that you want to work with me, we book a separate sales call. And then we get on and we talk about what are the specific measurable results. You get the pricing, you get the length of the program, which I can show real quick. No, I
please
can't.
do.
I'm going to show. Okay, hang on. I had it lined up with my,
Because it's not a one size fits all. It really
it's
depends on
not.
where you're at, what you get from the interaction,
Yes,
that would be of the highest benefit for
yes.
where the client might be.
Exactly. So when you have, if you book a sales call with me, you get all this, which is a breakdown. It's a 9 process system where you systematically identify, unshackle, transform, and leverage generational trauma responses into unparalleled personal and professional breakthrough results. I work on a 3-pillar system. There's all kinds of different iterations of this program. You can do the first pillar if you want, and just dismantle the limiting beliefs and eliminate imposter syndrome with those processes. They call them, I got to update this, because they're no longer modules, they're processes. Or you can do, we always start with number 1, right? Because you gotta dismantle the limiting beliefs. If you want to stack on that and transform your past failures into stepping stones, you can add on the second process. You want to stack on that and build some frameworks, you can do that. And then so like you get to see, like, for example, the process number 1, you unpack the past decisions that created your imposter syndrome, what you'll learn, what you'll walk away with, and what that means, right? So
Yes.
it's really clear. I break on a sales call, I break it all the way down, and then you get the choice as to, do you want to do the whole thing? You want to do it in pieces? You want to stack? It's up to you, because I'm
He-
good either way.
Here's what I would recommend though.
Mhm.
I- It's one thing to dismantle and identify and all of that. Should you not put something in place, you will very easily and quickly revert. As you
Yes,
get to, it's
each one of
as
these, you do that in each one of these.
information and knowledge in and of itself alone is not enough for breakthrough.
Absolutely. That's why I said I always, and regardless of whether you do
Yes.
1, 2, or 3, or you
So
do
I'm
them all
speaking
together.
to the audience, to, if you've ever done something, felt very excited about it, and then wondered why you're back to your old tricks, it's because you have not replaced it with a higher. Uh,
Exactly, which is why I don't work with
yeah,
anyone until they distinguish and commit to, I want to get this specific measurable result. So that's the receipts that I've gathered. No one
beautiful.
works with me and gets an education. They get an I can't be, no, I'm not here to educate you. I'm here for you to have an unparalleled
I
outcome,
love it.
a breakthrough result. So regardless of whether you do one module, one pillar, 2 pillars, or 3, all 3, each time we get together, you choose 1 to 3 specific measurable results that a fly on the wall could see. And then
Yes,
after those 3 processes, we revert back and go, did you put it into play? And did you get it?
yes.
And I haven't had anyone come back and not get it because I'm hyper focused on
Yes.
the connection between, and thank you for bringing this up, the connection between the pillar and your outcome. There
Yes.
has to be a connection. Otherwise, it's just something, really cool to do and really exciting. I'm
Yeah.
interested in that. It's not a
Yeah.
breakthrough. You got to have a breakthrough result.
Yeah. Not the same as an aha moment.
No,
The
no,
breakthrough
no. A
is,
breakthrough results, right? Like
yeah,
this. You'll transform questioning your achievements to confidently owning your success, turning your imposter syndrome into bulletproof self-esteem that propels you to new heights. And now, whatever you've been dealing with, I don't dare, for example, if it's perfectionism, you will then, I have one client right now, for example, who didn't dare post on LinkedIn. Now, she's also a coach who wants to expand her coaching business, but wouldn't post. I couldn't get her to post. No one could get her to post on LinkedIn because the inner overseer kept telling her it's not good enough. You need to redo it. You need to edit it again. And today's Tuesday, she posts on Tuesday. Last Tuesday, she posted her second LinkedIn post
congratulations.
and got a lot of feedback. It wasn't like cricket, 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 got a lot of
Yeah.
likes, got a lot of comments. So today's Tuesday, she'll be posting her third one. And now
Yay.
we're going to take it next. Okay, now what else do you want? What else is this inner overseer telling you you can't have?
Yes. And a beautiful way, because she is not alone. Your client is not alone in this. This is something that is so much more common than we care to admit. And
Absolutely.
this was something that I also experienced in my life to
Hmm,
perhaps a lesser degree. Perfectionism comes in different phases, different forms.
sure.
And I would keep this withholding because I didn't want the heat. I didn't want the hassle. I didn't, whatever the excuse was, it's still rooted in perfectionism.
Sure.
And so one of the things that really was instrumental in my breakthrough was the idea of, because I didn't want to be found wanting. I didn't want to be found like in error or, you know,
Yeah.
and getting that kind of judgment. And I knew that mine was rooted in a trauma, not only generational, but it was also a trauma that was in a lived experience in my formative years.
Yep.
I didn't
That's
want
where
to
it
shame
happened.
anyone. I didn't want to, that 0 to 9. And so the what ended up happening for me was literally, thank God, where the Holy Spirit literally like pulled the rug out from under me and gave me permission to do it messy. It had
How old were
never.
you when this happened? Can I ask? May I ask how old
Yes.
you?
When the trauma happened, or when
Yeah.
when the
When the trauma
breakthrough.
happened. When the trauma
I
happened.
was 4.
That's it. That's where we start. That's the first age group, 4 to 7,
Yeah.
8 to 10, 11 to 14, teenager, adult, and this past year. Those are the 6 that I said I was going to come back to. Those are the
Yes.
foundational events in your life that if you can go, but once you go back and do the review
Yeah.
process, reclaim your say. What you did was reclaim your say over whatever happened when you were 4, that trauma that happened.
Yeah.
And
And you can, and the tricky thing, the mind is something. The tricky thing there was I thought I had reclaimed my say.
oh yeah.
I hadn't, but this is how and you might be able to this might ring true for some people out there,
Mhm.
where I was under the distinct impression that I had tackled this.
Right.
But it and the way I had thought this was, well, no one is going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do it on my terms. However, I was doing everything that was counter to whatever I thought that oppressive voice wanted. So
Yeah.
it first of all, it was self-protecting, then it turned into self-sabotage. Where
Exactly.
now anything that reminded me of that person, in order to keep myself safe and make them wrong and not give them the
Power.
satisfaction of
Mm.
being right about me. You know what? I would rather become a failure than be the success that you want me to be.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? Like that's what, but
Yes.
this wasn't like I'm sitting there at 4 thinking I'm going to be a failure. I
Right.
was thinking this was the only way I knew how to take my power back of just not having you be pleased with anything I do.
Mhm.
So
That's
if
that's
what you were telling me caused this much harm to me,
mm,
then I can't trust anything you're saying, even if it might be right in the world.
exactly.
I will not give anything more from you permission to flourish in my life. So if it costs me success, if it costs me joy, if it whatever it costs me, as long as it's not in alignment with what you used to traumatize me,
That's it. That's it.
I
That's correct.
win.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I win. Exactly. I sabotage myself, but I think I'm
Yeah,
winning. And then I wonder why I'm in this spiral,
loop. Yes.
the evil circle,
Yeah.
the vicious circle. Why do
Yes.
I keep coming back around?
But
That's
you couldn't tell me otherwise. Like you couldn't explain this to me because it was one of those things that was just is this unspoken decision,
it's
and you
hidden,
just it's hidden, and
hidden.
I never, not until I began doing my own work and going into therapy, and because I went into a transpersonal psychotherapeutic training program. It was like a 3-year program, and I
Mhm.
thought I was doing it just like one more notch on my belt, one more thing to learn, getting educated. And the joke was on me because I went through, and part of the requirement of this program was that you go into therapy.
Sure. Good.
So
Yeah, there
up
you go.
until then, I was like, I'm fine, right?
Fine, I've got it handled, right. And
I'll
here's the
just
thing. This is what I love. It's like I have this woman that I just spoke about. She is actually, I think she is one of the people that is talking about her results on the page, the flyer. Oh yeah, I've had a lifetime of therapy, but Tanya shifted what nothing else could. So because we're not doing therapy, we're doing
yes,
a process to take
yes.
you from here to here in 12 weeks. We don't have 3 years, okay? Or we don't, well, anyone that works with
You
me doesn't
do, but
want
listen, this
to.
is but this is the point that I'm going to it is not therapy. What you're
Right,
doing is not therapy because you can come, like, I will speak for myself.
sure.
I have the training and I have all of that stuff, and I can say once I finish, very similar to you, once I finished everything, I'm like, I'm not going to be a therapist.
Mm.
And people in the family are like, what do you mean? You just went through this, you did all this other work to, wasn't this the goal? I was like, therapy's not going to cut it. Like,
There it
I,
is.
because therapy opened the door,
Right.
and I realized what I required was much deeper.
I gotta add something right here because this just came
Please
up
do.
in a coaching session. One of the people that I'm working with was talking about the different diagnoses that she has been given.
Mm.
I have ADHD. Um, I have hyper something else. She ran off a list. There were
All
so
the
many,
acronyms.
all the acronyms, ADHD, ADD, blah blah blah. All that she went through all the acronyms, right? And I said, hang on, you're a professional, you're a coach, you're highly regarded, very highly regarded. You don't have ADHD and ADD and all that. You've got trauma. That's what you've got. And she was like,
And it
oh,
shows up in a whole other way with Black women.
that's the point. That was what I was just getting ready to say. I was like, who diagnosed you?
Mm.
Mm. It's because they don't have our lived experience that they hook these labels on us when we're younger,
Like,
and we
close enough.
we don't know that we're dealing, like you said, whatever happened to you at 4, what happened to her, she was 6, and then they leak this, and then you believe it, and she's believed it all these years. And it took me, another Black woman, to say, no, that's not what you
To
have.
see you,
That's
to
what she said. She
see
said, I
you.
see you. Yes. And I saw her, and it's interesting. That was 3 sessions ago, all gone.
Yeah.
ADHD, all gone. ADD, all gone. She has dived into ChatGPT.
Neutralized, dissolved, evaporated, eviscerated.
Gone. It's gone. It's the breakthrough. She
Yes.
broke through these diagnoses
Yes.
because she realized that the people that had given them to her didn't understand her lived experience and had no idea of the trauma.
Yeah, that she was carrying. This is
Exactly.
amazing. I hope you are listening. This has been such an enriching and nourishing and enlightening
Thank you.
conversation.
Me too.
I'm so excited for all the Black women who are going to tap on your shoulder and the Black men because they'll be tapping too.
I will.
This is for the community. Mama will be so proud. This is for
Mhm.
the community and awesome service and just I love your heart.
Thank you.
I mean, we didn't even touch on the spiritual aspect of it because I mean, what you're describing innately, like within it, there's no way that this is soul work.
Oh,
There's
yes.
no way that you can do this level of breakthrough and do this level of healing without it having a spiritual component because the spiritual realm is the root.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're talking about soul fragments. You're talking about this is the stuff we're talking about, yet we're piecing it together in the world in a way that people can recognize and hang on to. And so I really honor you and I applaud you for your courage and your heart and your faithfulness to be able to walk this path unapologetically and with a fierceness that is required in the world. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, Tanya, for
You're welcome. It has been an honor and a pleasure being here. I can't wait to hear from your people to, answer their questions,
yes,
give them some relief, and give them access to what is buried.
beautiful. So again, I'll be posting this on YouTube and I'll put all of Tanya's links and resources in the post. So stay tuned and until next time, thank you. I see you and I honor you. Remain blessed.
Thank you.